She even proposes to him on the street. Seeing Jack's determination to retaliate, Annie, eager for a green card, drops her arrogant CEO demeanor. On her knees, she sweetly proposes to Jack. Andrew, I'm all ears. Can you just take off your coat first? Let me handle this, okay? I'm not into pranks. But I'll manage this. See you at the airport tomorrow, and we need to tie the knot ASAP. I took the flight to Alaska with Annie talking about post-marriage living all the way. She won't live in Jack's messy flat owes as much comfort. Little did she know that this broke guy who's been her assistant for 3 years was hiding some serious secrets. As soon as Jack got off the plane, he saw his grandma and mother waiting. They gave Annie a warm welcome at once. Do you like being called Marguerite? Or would you prefer Divine Goddess? We've heard both. Grandma's enthusiasm left Annie blushing like a cherry. However, these sweet titles coming from Grandma felt less like mockery and more like affection. Car meandered through winding mountain roads and past idyllic lakes, arriving at the quaint little town in no time. But Annie noticed something odd. The names of many shops in town were all named after Jack. She even started to suspect that this penniless guy she's been hanging out with for 3 years might actually be a secret rich kid. You've been keeping family secrets from me, dear. You might just be pulling my leg. Oh, perhaps it's his turf. Jack dropped his assistant role. His attitude to Annie changed greatly. He casually tossed her heavy luggage at her, making the usually composed CEO look like a flustered mess trying to keep up with him. After a long journey, they arrived at the dock. Jack hurled the luggage onto the planks. Despite her efforts to seem indifferent, Jack couldn't help but tenderly reach out to help Annie when she started to struggle. Since the only way to Jack's house was by boat, Annie forced herself to endure the boat ride to their destination. But what she saw next blew her mind. An extravagant estate like something out of a fairy tale. It had a stunning single-family mansion, with friends and family who had been waiting eagerly for their arrival. They had surprised both of them with a mini welcome party filled with warm greetings from neighbors and relatives. With food and music setting the mood, Annie found a moment of peace amidst the chaos. Once they found out she was Jack's fiancée, the party atmosphere went through the roof. Especially since Grandma was about to turn 19 now. That's some exciting news. However, Jack's father didn't think so at all. He believed Jack should bring home glowing achievements, not the fiancée who's just an editor. The tension between the father and son was thicker than a Thanksgiving turkey. And then, almost out of nowhere, Jack announced in front of everyone that he was getting married to Annie. Amidst cheers and congratulations, the two resumed their awkward show of love. Just when things couldn't get any messier, Jack's ex unexpectedly showed up, and they were all forced to act out their love story. They even gave a shy kiss right in front of everyone. After finishing with the awkward welcome party, little did they know they had to deal with Grandma and Mom's plans next. For the coming days, they'd share a room. Grandma took out a blanket, saying it had special powers. Apparently, it can enhance their bond. But with no feelings involved, they didn't end up sharing a bed. Jack ended up sleeping on the floor. He made sure Annie felt secure, even though they were always close at work. But sharing a room for the first time with a guy, Annie was definitely feeling awkward. Until sleep finally won over reason, and they drifted into slumber without realizing it. The next day, Annie was jolted awake by her phone ringing, but its flashing light made it impossible to answer. Not wanting to disturb anyone, she stepped outside to answer. Surprisingly, the pet dog ran off, caught by an eagle and lifted into the air next. In a flash, Annie hurriedly tossed her phone to save her pet dog. Little did she know that the eagle would return again, swooping in to snatch her phone. To Grandma and Mom, this was just a glimpse of Anna's sweet side, and not the icy persona Jack described. When Jack woke up, he also noticed the scene. But he knew Annie wasn't a fan of pets, so to keep the family's nice image of her intact, he approached her cautiously. Only then did he find out Anna's phone was taken by the eagle. Seeing Annie frantically upset, Jack reassured her he'd get her a new phone. Subtitles. He even took the opportunity to hold her in his arms, and yet her hands unconsciously wandered over Anna's body. Just touch my hand again, and then your fingers on now. I mean, good, great. So, can we clean this up? So nice of you. Meanwhile, while Grandma took Annie on a town outing, Jack saw his opening to talk to his dad. Despite their disagreements over the years, their relationship was still in tatters, and with his father nearing retirement, things were. His dad wanted Jack to take over the family business already and manage it well. But Jack wasn't into company management. He had his own hobbies and aspirations. Editing was the dream job for him, but after 3 long years, he still found himself stuck as an assistant. This only made Dad even more confused about Jack's actions. Their debate grew more and more heated, further deepening the rift between them. Jack took out his pent-up frustration on the abandoned boat nearby. Just then, his mom walked in and figured out what was going down. Subtitles, so she walked up to her husband and started to lay blame on me, treating me as an outsider. Annie, wanting to keep the peace, politely excused herself, but she overheard everything between Jack's parents. Turns out, Jack hadn't returned from New York for 3 years to escape his dad's grip. He wanted to live a life of freedom, rather than being forced into inheriting the family business. Had it not been for this fake engagement, he might have never come back home. That evening, Annie took the initiative to share her story with Jack. She lost her parents at a young age and had to leave her hometown to survive. No matter how successful he became, that void in her heart remained unfilled. In happy times, there was no one to share with. In sad moments, nobody to talk to. She preferred not to think about her parents' funerals, which is why there were never any flowers in the house. Whenever someone called her the Dragon Lady, she would sneak off and wipe her tears away. After a moment of sadness, she had to put on a brave face and hide her soft side. Checked out in a fall. A dev called Steele, she kept pushing to be a successful businesswoman. Jack sat in silence, thinking that after 3 years as her assistant, he truly understood Annie inside and out. But he was surprised to discover that this seemingly fierce woman had such a vulnerable side. And with Jack's comical singing echoing around, the two hearts that were once far apart slowly began to embrace each other. The next morning, an early rising Annie, maybe touched by love, started paying attention to her appearance. She started to focus on her looks until she heard her mother's voice outside the door. To avoid exposing their little arrangement, Annie hurriedly woke the still dreaming Jack. They had to keep up their lovey-dovey act, and luckily, their slightly awkward poses didn't raise any suspicions from her mom.